Peace and blessings to all of God's children on this sabbatical Saturday morning, June 1st, new month. And it's some issues that I want to cover here, and I'm going to start from Scripture. In Numbers chapter 22, there's a little narrative that goes on about a prophet. The prophet's name is Balaam. And the theologians, some, refer to this particular passage and this story as God forbade the madness of a prophet by speaking through the jawbone of an ass, donkey. Here's the point that I'm trying to make here. As I touched on in some of my previous videos, the supernatural, matters of the spirit, is not bound, nor is it measured by those physical measurements like rulers, tachometers, survey. You know what I'm saying? The supernatural is not the natural. Scripture teaches us over and over again we should worship God in spirit. Yet, when you listen to a lot of people talking, it's like they're making some type of physical manifest justification for what they do and say. Listen, I'm not trying to attack academia, teachers, people who excel in the academic field. But when I speak of creative intelligence doesn't need books, doesn't need measurements, doesn't need sciences. Creative intelligence is used through observation. I know you say, no, you ain't got to go to Harvard and Yale. All you got to do is be conscious, be aware of the things and have the right tools to comprehend. Now back to the story about Balaam. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. I read from the King James Version because I find that that's where a lot of us, got problems. The wording, I get it. Every person has a right to pursue or search the scriptures. But I will make a notation here. When you read these scriptures, you have to see yourself in them. I don't care if you don't find something to connect with in these scriptures, you're just communicating. It's a difference in communicating and connecting with people. Matters of the spirit requires connection. Creative intelligence enables us to be problem solvers, where academic knowledge has a tendency, now I don't know about the intent, I'm just saying it has a tendency for us to have more problems than we start off with. Now I'm going to jump around to another scripture, Psalm 46:10. It says, be still and know that I am God. In other words, from this scripture, shut your thinking off so God's knowing can come into a situation. Creative intelligence carries these components. How did I discover it? Let's just say I was placed in a situation. Now, this is my personal testimony. Everybody's got your story is your glory. But mine was, I had everything taken from me. Everything. Not only was I in prison, I was in prison still cutting up. I probably committed more crimes in prison than people do on the street. But that's neither here nor there. No, I'm not saying I'm some clever whiz kid or something like that. I did it because of my own personal perceived self-interest. Self-interest is covered or masked or camouflaged by a lot of people. Oh, I just come to check on you. You just come in here to check out my house so you send somebody around and break it in. Oh, it goes on ad nauseum. But here's my point. Balaam was given a commission by God. God specifically told him, said, look, go down there and say exactly what I said to you. Balaam had some issues with that, so much to the point that the little donkey he rode on, the ass, God had to use the donkey to try to get some sense into him. And it went something like this. The donkey, who God had placed his hand on and anointed him, rather than going out, he kept running into the wall because the donkey had a vision. He could see a Malak, angel, as we call it. The word comes from the Hebrew word Malak, which means messenger, standing at the end of the alleyway with a sword. Balaam couldn't see it because he was too caught up in his own self-interest. And that's what I'm saying. If you're caught up in your self-interest, you cannot make an objective decision in critical matters. All right. So the donkey kept running into the wall. Balaam, he's setting up there. He ain't peeping what's going on. So he beating the guy right. So after a while, he became angry and all upset. So at some point, and as I said, it's chapter 22 of Numbers. Go read it for yourself. God opened Balaam's eyes and he could see the Malak standing down there with the sword. And the conversation went something like this. Surely if you had kept beating your ass, I would have took your head. Hold up now. Wait a minute. I ain't going gangster in this. I'm just saying. No negotiation, no nothing like either you're going to do right or you ain't going to do right. God showed favor and mercy and opened his eyes. Now, here's the more interesting thing. I have been so angry in life that it was some things happening that anybody in their right mind would say, oh, wait a minute. Huh? Donkey talking to me? Wait a minute, something got to be going on here. Something never even crossed Balaam's mind. We become so obsessed with things that we overlook some of the most crucial things that's going on. God is with us, walks with us, talks with us, and everything, but you got to listen. See, there's a cost to wisdom. You must pay attention. You got to pay attention. No, it ain't dollars and gold or nothing like this. We're talking about the spiritual comprehension of a thing. Because this narrative I'm telling you about Balaam, let's go to our lives. How many times have we been winning a certain situation, got all the chips in our favor, but bring the wrong energy? Because we don't read in a 360 degree, we go on a straight line. I'm going from right here to right there. And that's how we become manipulated in our educational pursuits, in our relationships. And by the way, on TikTok, I mean, let me do a disclaimer here. It's a lot of you young women out there talking about, look, miss me with that. If you ain't on here trying to elevate yourself or whatever, I say, I ain't on here for likes and all this right here. I got family members I give my all support to. They got that going on. I'm on here. My mission is something different. Now, if you want to elevate and build, and okay. But now listen, I ain't listen. I got grown grandchildren. Some of y'all ain't even old as my grandchildren. Oh, man, listen. I'm not no old cat daddy trick. So miss me with that. I come from the darkness, I'm into the light. Now, if you ain't following me in the light, I wish you all the success in what you're doing, but I ain't there. Now, here's what I'm saying. Creative intelligence. Children, I got to use children. They never do what you tell them, but they do what they see you do. I'm asking everybody to start seeking to cultivate your creative intelligence so that you can start working on your inner self and know where you're going, how you're going, and do it in the right place. Because I'm going to tell you something. We got to stop looking towards these other people for things. We have to do it for ourselves. One love, one heart. Listen, la-da-da-da and everybody. I'm speaking to everybody. If you don't like, that's fine. I'm going to love you anyway. Peace and blessings. I pray that life opens up for you and grants you all your wishes. Peace.